So you're playing Mass Effect 3, being all cool about it, when suddenly it happens. It dawns on you. Commander Shepard is a Hindu god! Spoilers for like the entire original Mass Effect trilogy, by the way. You have been warned. BioWare as a company loves their religious references. Whether it be uprising against organized religion in Dragon Age, well, that's some other time, or the way Mass Effect's Commander Shepard is basically referred to as a human representation of godhood itself.
I am a biotic god. I think things, and they happen. Fear me, lesser creatures, for I am biotics made flesh.
You need help.
So some of the Western religious references are quite obvious. In the beginning of Mass Effect 1, humanity is cast out of the Garden of Eden Prime after they bite from the forbidden fruit. In this case represented by the archaeological dig uncovering the Provian beacon, warning them about the coming Reaper disaster. Commander Shepard gains knowledge they can never return from, and is symbolically cast out of Eden not just by having to leave the planet named after it, but also being the only living person with any chance of stopping the Reapers and being forced to dedicate their lives to doing so. In Mass Effect 2 they also literally die and return to life, like the death and resurrection of Jay-Z from the Brobel. And if you really want to stretch it, you can debate whether they're considering joining the Elusive Man in Cerberus is the 40 Days of Doubt in the desert. However, during the events of Mass Effect 2, your friend the showtune singer Mordin Solus brings up how he had coped with the guilt of working on keeping the genophage around by looking to human religions and finding solace in the idea of the Wheel of Life. The Wheel of Life, also known as Samsara, is an endless cycle of reincarnation that's present in both Hinduism and Buddhism. The idea is that you're caught in this wheel and will keep resurrecting in various forms until you reach true enlightenment and enter moksha, no longer having to inhabit a physical form and having your soul return to the world in eternal peace. You're resurrected into different forms depending on what type of life you led. Like, were you an extremely terrible person, you might risk being reborn as a mountain and having to suffer eons of existence before being given another true chance of entering moksha. Being resurrected as a human is considered around the very end of the cycle, before you're able to come to the finite realization. And what is Shepard reborn as when they come back to life in the beginning of Mass Effect 2? A human! Shepard's enlightenment was so high in the life as a human that they were giving another chance to learn more and enter moksha completely. It's kinda like when Candy Crush tells you could have won the stage in 5 more turns and offers you the turns for $7. So when Shepard faces the human Reaper hybrid at the end of the suicide mission, they're not just facing a monstrosity that might destroy the galaxy, they're actually facing a physical representation of their own flawed human existence. Hell yeah, take it Need for human interaction. Eat it Need for going to the bathroom. So, we enter Mass Effect 3.
Be nice while Daddy's out!
Now, assuming you have the Leviathan DLC for the game, this is where we learn about the true origin and purpose of the Reapers. They were the galaxy's first true AIs, and they return every 60,000 years to destroy the current galactic civilization and bring them back to the Stone Age. In other words, they come back in a cycle, and when they think civilization has committed a sin big enough, they reverse the process entirely and let them begin again from stage 1. Kind of like how the process of Samsara forces you back to the state of the mountain and forces you to work your way up the ranks again until you resurrect in a form that can reach true moksha. In fact, this is more or less admitted by the Reapers themselves. When you get to the very end of the game, you meet what has been named the Star Child by fans, an AI representation of the collective consciousness of the Reapers. It explains to you that the Reapers considers organic life and true AI incapable of living together in peace, and that the utter destruction of civilization to reverse the cycle is seen as a mercy, so we don't slowly destroy ourselves. However, with all these cycles, generations upon generations of the collective galactic scientists have invented the Crucible. And what does the Crucible do? It finally puts the choice in the hands of the one person the entire galaxy considers capable of making that choice. You, Commander Shepard.
You are ready, and you may choose it.
Throughout all your trials and tribulations, ever since you began receiving knowledge and was cast out of the Garden of Eden, you have become the single most enlightened person in the entire known galaxy. You have become the Mass Effect equivalent of the Buddha, an enlightened one. Whether you choose control, destruction, or synthesis, the result is the same. You're finally letting the galaxy as a whole exit the cycle of samsara and make a life on their own terms. No longer being manipulated by plans set in motion eons before their birth. You can even go one step further. By entering synthesis, you're also connecting the entire collective consciousness of organic and synthetic life. You're freeing them of samsara and letting them enter moksha, the true realization of our connection to each other and everything. In fact, in Sanskrit, the word moksha literally means liberation or release. So how does all this make Shepard a god? Well, for that one we have to go to Javik. Javik mentions during your travels with him that he has realized you may be an avatar. In other words, while you're not aware of it yourself, you are the representation of the gods walking amongst the living, carrying out their will.
But you are now the avatar of this cycle, the exemplar of victory. Not just for humanity, or Turians, or Protheans, but for all life. Every soul that has ever existed is watching this moment.
Well, no pressure when you put it that way.
Taking it into a gaming context as well, what is an avatar in a video game? An avatar is a representation of you. In other words, if we're to take this entirely literally, the main character of the Mass Effect trilogy is not Commander Shepard. It's you, the player. You are the god incarnated as an avatar in the Mass Effect universe. This is a subject that comes up multiple times in the text of the Bhagavad Gita, though the actual word avatar only shows up much later. Here it's mostly associated with the god Vishnu, who, every now and then, incarnates on Earth to guide humanity. And finally biting the tail of this insane Ouroboros, who else was the incarnation of a deity figure set on Earth to guide them in a time of crisis? Good old Chase here from the Brobel once again, the other major religion that Shepard shares symbolic similarities with. From India to the Middle East and all the way into fucking space, the gods might actually have led Shepard by the nose the entire way. I mean, be clear, I'm not saying that Shepard is actually an avatar in the Hindu tradition and should be numbered amongst the presumed avatars. What I am saying is that BioWare has taken heavy inspiration from both the Hindu and Abrahamic religions, and that a lot of major plot points lines up with the mythos of those religions. The Mass Effect trilogy isn't just great because it's a fun series of video games. The Mass Effect trilogy also explores galactic society and human society and tries to say something with it. It tries to play around with the ideas that we have in human society, and that's what a real science fiction should. That's enough poking the bear of losing all my religious viewers for today though. Thank you guys for listening to my analysis. Tell me in the comments what you thought of it and have a great day.